Checking your physique, I don't think I could want you anymore. Chilling with your girl, I'm jealous that I can't just run over and take you on the floor. And I don't wanna cross nobody, I know it's never worth the pain, but I can feel your eyes run down me, and all my sense just fades away. You got me in that dilemma, oh, oh. 'Cause boy, you a fine looking fella, and you know, no, the grass here is green, I like what you see, thinking of how you could get with me, yeah. Oh, maybe we don't have to tell her, hey, I'm in a dilemma.
What am I doing? Hey, welcome to the stream. Hope you're all having a good Thursday. I had to remind myself what day it was just then. Something a little bit later today. I've had a bit of a sore throat this morning, so I was trying to give that a bit of a rest, but thought felt okay, so thought we'd do a bit of a stream. It's gonna be a shorter one today. I have a thing that I'm gonna join at 6-ish. I think it's 6 when that thing starts. I need to check that now. Great start. I'll check my new calendar. I started using the Hey calendar that just came out. Yeah, 6 o'clock. Cool. So I'm gonna have to finish them, but we'll see what we can get on with. I really guess this should be dash now. Thought I'd try something different with the starting screen this morning, but good afternoon. Muster Minutes app is loading in our other tab up here, and we will. I guess we'll jump straight into the code and then we'll boot up the server and that fun stuff. bin/dev. Boot up, and then we'll load that into a new tab. Here is our Muster Minutes app we've been working on. And then we can close item, VS Code open, and we've got our Muster Minutes loaded up. Cool. Let me just check. I flicked all the buttons at the beginning there, and no, all okay. Sweet. Yeah, so if I jump into here, we can just quickly review what we worked on yesterday. Yesterday we were working on the ability to set the speakers and name the speakers. We didn't do it on this one, we did it on the one that's called New Meet. We can kind of call this Meet with Speakers, maybe. We're kind of doing this thing where we have these labeled. Let's call this one number 4 or 5 rather, I suppose. 5 the next one in that list. No, 4 was the next one in that list. Anyway. Not 3, 4. Ah, hyping. Yeah, so we're working on this. There's still a few things I want to fix with this. One of them, yeah, so yesterday we worked on this part here, where you can edit these people, you can remove, change their name, and set that in there. There's a bug here that we need to look at and think about, which is this 0 unidentified participants. That's spelt wrong as well. Let's just fix that now while we're thinking about it. This is the list partial, right? Yes. Find P, changing the words, participants. Cool. And yeah, we need to work out why this is incorrect. What's going on there? That's one thing. Probably start there. Another thing that I was thinking about as well is if I delete all of these people, we've lost a bunch of people, which is right, but they were identified as named, so they are now participants in the meeting even though they haven't said anything. So we shouldn't just remove those people. They kind of need to appear as kind of, I guess, silent speakers or non-speaking participants as a separate list of people, perhaps. And so I need to figure out how we interact and how we deal with that. That's another thing I kind of need to think about. Yeah. And so 0 unidentified participants. I think that's because we start with a 0 index. that's something that we can perhaps just take a look at first. And then the core thing that I really want to get in is here, which is these names here need to match the names on the side, now that I've identified them. And that's going to require doing some JavaScript. So perhaps let's start with this, maybe move on to this, and then think about what happens when you delete people. This 0 unidentified participants comes from the, we'll close this. Okay, that's in, what file is the name? Participant list. Our participant list model. And in here we have the total unidentified. So we'll just go down to 3J. I did find a more efficient way of doing this, because what we did is preloading all of these. So actually this isn't creating any more SQL queries. We saw that when we looked in the logs to load this page. Yesterday we kind of resolved that issue. So what we're doing here is we're taking the speakers. So there should be 8 speakers, and we're selecting all of the ones that have a participant. Now here's the problem, actually. We changed participant to always exist. And actually what we need to check is something else. So if we go to the participant model, or the speaker model, as it probably is more accurate, it wasn't here. It was, there's something on Rail. It'd be good to be able to call Copilot that somehow. Copilot. Chat open editor Copilot. Ask GitHub Copilot. Can I just do something in here? How do I check whether a Ruby object, active record object has been persisted? In this code, the _1 participant is an active record object. It might not have been saved yet if it's a new participant. Persisted. Yeah, so I can go in here. Select all the ones that have been persisted. And now that makes sense. Because speaker 4 hasn't been identified, and that speaker, that participant, hasn't been persisted to our database. And that makes sense. Does this cause us to do any more queries, I guess, is the question. Am I still performant in how we load this information? It looks like it. Like there's only 4 SQL queries there, and then excluding the active storage stuff. So that's good. So that solves that problem. I think there is a problem here where if I went to the bottom, if I go to the 30-minute mark, or even just here, right, we've got speaker 6. If I go here and delete all of this, no, hang on, what am I trying to say? Oh no, that does seem to work. It's basically saying, does all of the speakers have a persisted participant? Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. That works. I thought there was going to be a bug here where, because there's like 7 participants identified and one of them isn't, if I got rid of the last one who was persisted, then it would count 7 and 7 and therefore all participants identified, but it doesn't, because it's actually looking to see whether each one of these speakers actually has an association to a participant, which is different, so that solves that problem. What should we do now? I guess that's one thing. It would be quite nice to show the participants that are... Show the participants that... I guess what I'm doing here is like the other participants. Which is that's a thing. That's actually pretty cool. Hey Bish, how's it going? Happy New Year. I did have a good break, thank you. Hope you had a good break as well. Good Christmas and New Year's. Let's go to the list and then just down here we can do render list of other participants. Was off from 18th of December to the 2nd, so nice time away. That's a good break. Break. I always like to take a good break off over Christmas, actually. It's always a good time, especially when you're like in office type work, I suppose, where you take a break any other time of the year and there's other people still working. It's kind of nice that generally around Christmas time and that New Year time, everybody is off, so you know nothing's happening. You can actually disconnect a little bit more, I find. Too many projects during the year and a lot of holiday built up. Fair enough. It's always usually the way. But generally everyone's off as well, which makes it easier. I don't know what I'm doing here. What am I doing here? There are no other participants. I probably should give this a bit of a header as well. H3 other participants. Plus the change freezes that come in towards the end of the month helps make things chill. That's true as well. Don't know if we've really done change freezes so much between that. I guess things just naturally slow down, I find, because there's just less people around, so. And usually the changes, like if we do changes, it's usually like bug fixes. I think in a lot of the places I've worked, that time of year becomes a bit of a bug smash time. And then obviously once you get really close to it, then you get a bit of a freeze on changes. If any, is there any other participants? Okay. And the idea here is if I delete all of these. Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. I didn't create partial for the participants. It is going to be annoying though, because I'm going to have to create. I have to restore that stuff that I just deleted because it would have gone. Yeah, large scale org for me, so they have a hard date and say no to new changes going due to skeleton crew being around. Any P1 items go in. Yeah, that makes sense. There's definitely very much like a larger org type thing, I find. Whereas I think a lot of my experience has been a lot more kind of small startup agency kind of background stuff. Even when I was working at kind of a larger org, I was in the kind of innovation team, so didn't really have to worry too much about changes at that time. What am I looking for? Use participants. What we'll do here, I guess, is we'll just do like a paragraph with the participant. I hate spelling participant. Perhaps this should just be an LI actually, because I think these are in a list. Refresh. Yeah, so Julian, Vladimir and William are all non-speaking participants. I still don't really know why these get the bullet point and the other ones don't. Like, what on here? Oh, is it because the allies have what's causing the bullet to disappear? Oh, it's actually the list style, isn't it? List style type disk. Apparently it's got it, but it's not there. Display list item. Is it because that's no longer a list item? Like if this was display flex? Yeah, because, okay. I think Tailwind has a list style type, list dash none. Hello. Perhaps I can do flow space small as well to reduce the space between those. Or XS. I actually wonder if this should more just be a comma separated list. Perhaps. Like actually other participants map to their name and then join with a comma separated list. And then perhaps this just becomes a paragraph tag. That work? List? What have I done there? List? Julian, Vladimir and William. Yeah, okay. Changing the work. Okay, that didn't work. Class flow. And then empty small, perhaps. Just want to add a bit of space above. just because otherwise it blends in a bit too much. Flow, space, excess. Okay, I think that makes sense. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up, we'll go terminal in terminal area, Ruby, Rails console. And then we'll go, if I remember correctly, this is 18. Transcription equals meeting.find 18 transcription. And then we'll do t.data is equal to other section, mainly for anyone that's attended the meeting, hasn't spoken during the meeting. Yeah, exactly. So I'll bring back the rest of the data quickly, and then I'll show you something. Transcription data, and then save. What I've just done there is brought back all of the transcription. So I've got this thing now on the side here where you can go in here and kind of change these people's names. And then this speaker 4 hasn't yet been identified, so this actually creates the participant. And here you're updating. So Jess has been created, speaker 4 hasn't really been created. So I've identified 7 out of the 8 people. Now, as you're editing the transcript on the right hand side, if I delete a bunch of people, those people I identified don't just get deleted completely, they still exist. And I kind of need to go in and manually delete them. And the reason they still exist is because I want them to still exist in this list on the side here. So it does still say I've got kind of, I think this is actually, the reason it's 7 here is just because it's not updated, but I still want to be able to select these people in case there's something they did say in the meeting, and then I can manually go in here perhaps at some point and remove them. And then the other option is as well, that's interesting. When speaker 4 appeared there. Odd. Yeah, the other thing is as well as maybe I do want to track people who were there but didn't say anything. Which actually is a useful thing thinking about it in some of the minutes that I've written. You usually have a section at the top that says who attended. It doesn't necessarily mean they said anything. I mean, that actually goes quite deep because there's a bunch of stuff there you could go even further on. You might say that actually William was there, but he only joined halfway through because he was late or whatever, or Vladimir had to leave early. And actually that's true for this meeting because this is a podcast episode where they just had random guests joining in at certain points. So generally where these people enter and exit is actually where they are, but they didn't say anything, we wouldn't know that. Yeah, so that's something to think about. Don't understand where this bug's coming from, where it has speaker 4 in there. Fair enough, nice to have in future by the sounds of it. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we don't lose track of any of the data, because otherwise I'd have like these names are actually stored in the database. So if I deleted the speakers, these names would just still be floating around in the database, but you wouldn't ever really be aware of them. So you wouldn't be able to delete them or change them or anything. Until you delete the meeting, and obviously that would delete those records as well. But, I don't understand where this bug is coming from. So we're taking other participants. Other participants is... I guess what's happening here is because the way that speaker bit works, where it creates that speaker. I wonder if I can do .select and persisted there. Perhaps fixes that. Are you able to see the speaker / participant table that's being stored? So this is a bit weird. Like there's so I have two models. So I've got participant. So there's participant and then there's the speaker. And the participant is stored in the database and has the name, and that's these ones that are identified are the ones that are actually stored in the database. And they belong to a meeting and they have a speaker kind of relationship. The speaker isn't actually stored in the database. It's based on the data that's stored in this transcript. So it's kind of stored in the database, but not in a typical kind of table hierarchy type data structure. And so this speaker model gets instantiated but doesn't actually, so that as part of this speaker, this participant list takes in the transcription, works out that there's 7 or 8 speakers, takes a number, and then for that many speakers it creates that speaker with that index for that meeting. So there'll be speaker 0, speaker 1, speaker 2, and then that speaker then either finds a participant or it builds a participant, a new participant. So every speaker has a participant. It might be one that's persisted, stored in the database, in the table, or it might be one it's just created. And I think what's happening here is we delete a bunch of people, but while we're deleting those people, we still have speaker 4. But we deleted speaker 4. But at the point we deleted speaker 4, they weren't in here. So we never delete speaker 4 from here. This is why I've added the persisted bit, because I actually only want to delete. I want to take the persisted participants and delete the non-persisted participants. If I have extra stuff here, like speaker 4, then it will show. That makes sense. I think if I refresh. Okay, and I must have now persisted speaker 4 because... Or... No. What am I doing here? Why is speaker 4 now there? That still says create. I can look at the thing. I can do Rails C and then do participant.or. There's no speaker 4 participant. Oh, this is only the persisted. Is there an opposite? Can I ask Copilot? Ask Copilot. Okay. Copilot ask. No, that's not what I wanted to say. I wanted to say Stop. What are you doing? Is there an opposite to persisted? Like not persisted, but okay. So there's a like new record. Select the new records. No, I want the ones that are persisted. I'm I'm taking all of the meeting participants and I'm removing the ones that are speakers. Where the speakers are persisted. Let's go underscore participant. And then just have participant dot persisted. Oh, we're not using this anymore, are we? Don't save. Because we're now... Where was we rendering these? The list? Yeah. Perhaps I'll do a all participant list dot other participants dot each do P for participant, and then we'll have a end, and then we can do p.name p.persisted no, it's not persisted. Does this still work when I delete a bunch of stuff? Yes. When I put them back, you get speaker 4 again. I mean, the other way I can do this is kind of, it's horrible, but I can do that first and then only select the ones that have persisted. It fixes the issue, but it looks horrible. It'll do for now. I really hate how that looks. Yeah, don't like it. It's the short of that, but it works. So, I'm not going to spend too long on that tiny thing. Delete there. Yeah, silent speaker, and then we get those different speakers. We'll tidy up quickly. We don't need this anymore. And save that. Sweet. Okay. I guess the other thing that's in here as well is because if I get rid of speaker 3 here, actually speaker 2. Oh, okay. I thought it was listing all of the names, but now it's not. Okay, that's updating now. No worries, cool. Okay, let's see where we was at on here. And close everything. Participant list. We added our new other participant section. We decided that was pretty efficient now. Fix the bug with a persisted. And then we can delete this as well, because we're not using this participant anymore, because we're just joining the lanes together. And then we will commit that. Show other participants and fix out of identified. It would help if I added stuff to that commit. Okay. Next is going to be to try and make this list match the list of names that have been identified over here. And I actually don't know how we're going to do this just yet. This is all mostly JavaScript stuff now, I think. So what we have, the way this works is we have our form for our transcription. We'll need that open, and that then calls the transcription editor controller, which is this JavaScript controller. And then that is then using the utterance node extension we wrote to render each utterance from a speaker. Those the three things I need? Possibly. And then obviously we're going to need to pull back the list of speakers somehow. I'm going to need some sort of global application state, I think, to share between these two sections. Or some sort of state. There is state here that needs to be managed in some way. The way it currently works is we use this hidden field with a bunch of JSON in it, and that gets changed. We don't need a field here because we're not really using a big form for it. So the utterance node is here, it's imported, and then passed in as an extension. The utterance node adds this node view, which is here. And this node view is where we get a list of the speakers, and we're just rendering whichever speaker, but we also have the select drop down. So how are we doing the select drop down? There's the select. There's a big chunk of this that I still really don't like. Would be easier if I could use, I don't know, some sort of template rendering. Because this code's really hard to read. What does ChatGPT make of this? ChatGPT. What do you make of this code? could be playing up and how we render the node. The add node view is doing quite a bit. That is one way of putting it. Alright, you don't need to just completely rip my dodgy code that I've written here. Well, at least I've written one thing, okay. Format time. I think I might have grabbed that from somewhere, to be honest, but anyway. ChatGPT might have even written that, so it's probably just complimenting itself. I was wondering about using the template tag in HTML to render the document, like the component here, rather than using document.createElement. Curious to see what it comes up with here. What would we do here then? So how would this look? Because actually I don't really, like, it's really hard to see the structure of the HTML here. And so could I create the template programmatically? Yeah, HTML does make sense. I do kind of want to just create it in the same. Let's just create a new file, have it in a separate view for a second. So let's just see what this would look like. So we've got a div. In fact, let's just tell it that it's HTML. So we've got a div, and then inside that div, the div with a class of utterance node. We then have somewhere in here we have a select. Kind of reading through here, and it's class list adds a color. That's done programmatically based on the speaker, so I'll have to figure that out later. We then have the speaker label, which I guess has no name and ID. Then for each speaker we're creating these options. There's almost a template within a template here because we've got a bunch of options that we're creating. Options created programmatically. What was that spelling? Atrocious. And apparently it has a style of like font, weight, bold, and margin right 10 pixels. Anything else going on with speaker label? Something about content editable false or something. Is that the same with the DOM at the top? No. And then we have the start time as well, which is a span, but only if there is a start time. Kind of conditional. And then yes, or like data of start time. Data value is like start time. And then P, which is like data value. Kind of. We're kind of using stimulus as well. So I'm wondering if I kind of use this concept of like targets, like data target. And this is like the content DOM. Start time. And data target options or speaker list. It would be easier if I can pass in I think I went down this road before when I was building this out. But what I want to kind of do here is have this call a stimulus controller. This would be a lot easier if I could just do data controller like utterance node. And then like the utterance controller. Be a lot easier if I can do that. I need to be able to pass it some stuff. This view.dispatch and then this get pos and then the selected speaker is the value. The transcription editor isn't opening itself up on the window at the moment. But it also doesn't have to, because I can... This is going to be nested within. There is something about like controllers being able to reference each other. Cross-controller coordination with events. What's going on here? Got a clipboard controller, the extends controller. When you copy, it calls dispatch, which returns a copy action, which includes some detail about the source target content. Why would you want that? Because then in here you can say, hey, when the clipboard when clipboard copies, you can call it effects controller flash. So you can kind of combine these two together. And what am I doing here? I'm calling this. I want to set the speaker of that specific utterance. Interesting. I'm sure there was something else as well about like how you can, because I don't think this get pos is anything like this view state tr set node markup is generic. This get pos is what, like, one of the things maybe I do here and I want to see is what the console.log get pos is. Is this pos unique for every single utterance, or is it the current position? Like, what is get pos? We're using tip tap. Oh, I've changed their website. The editor suite to build product with real-time synchronization. We're not using the real-time synchronization. Amazing content experience. Hopefully we're building an amazing content experience. Notion-like editor. Interesting. This is a nice site, actually. I need the docs. This looks the same. Get pos. Node views with view, node views with React. I know React better, but get the document position of the current node. I feel like that just passes on. Let's see what happens. If I refresh and just console log get pos, do we get all of the same? Can I add some sort of event listener? Window a document dot add event listener, like key down. If event dot is enter console dot log get pos. A bit weird, but so if I press enter, I guess in here, enter, they all individually return their position, right? Like they're all returning their own position. I mean, get pos is just a number, right? So now when I change the other thing I want to do quickly is speaker 1, speaker 0. This is position 0 because it's the very first thing. If I create a new one, speaker 1, position 31, position 3. Now, that position isn't really going to change every time. If I'm adding the node view, it shouldn't change the position, right? So can I just add the position in as a value to the stimulus controller every time I render? Add node view. Interesting. So I can do data, value. And then that could be like 2 or 31 or whatever it's going to be, right? The bit that I don't like is if it was just a number that was never going to change, why do they give me a function to be able to get it? Why not just give me the pos? Why give me the function? I don't trust that it's not. Yeah. I'm gonna have to be right back. I'll find a way of doing a be right back screen quickly. I really should just create a be right back screen. Make it so much easier. New window. No. Be right back. Okay. Drag to the what? Oh, there we go. Be right back. I might run some ads as well, just because I know they're coming up in 8 minutes. So if I run them now, it means we don't have to do them at 8 minutes when I'm in the middle of stuff. So we'll do that, and then I'll be back. Bye. I'm back. Again, how do I view appearance? Reset zoom. I'm gonna make a be right back screen at some point because annoying. Anyway, get pos. What are we doing? Get pos. This approach would work. Passing in the value. Basically what I'd be doing is calling get pos and essentially create this structure of HTML. And then have stimulus load it up with all of the content. I guess I could also just pass in a blob of JSON into like some sort of value object type thing here. Oh, identifier. It's like utterance. This would have been utterance pos. Why do we need it in stimulus controller? I guess is probably one of the questions. I really don't want to use React here, but I can see the value of having something like React. Because I need to dynamically re-render this blob of HTML here. Like I almost have another template that's these options. I want something lightweight though. I don't want a whole framework. I kind of just want there is a solution here somewhere that's lighter weight. So we edit, we've got a list of names, list of participants. And we've got a list of participants. I mean, this can look at this. Like these could have IDs, right? And information about these participants. The bit that's tricky is like, actually it needs to find this and render based on this. And then also needs to kind of have a mutation observer potentially to see when stuff on here changes. Well, we're kind of using our HTML as our state, right? So editor options, editor props, get speakers. Okay. Get speakers. This.transcription.speakers.bind, this.transcription. I remember this now. We have like this transcription model here. What on earth is this? That's where our speakers are. I think this is just an array, yes, of that. That needs to either become an object and I pull the speakers in here, or I guess I could pull it here, right? We have this turbo frame with the DOM ID speaker underscore. And it has the speaker name there in this paragraph here. So perhaps I could just do something in here where it's like data. ID. Speak underscore name. No, I need to equals speaker.id. It's a bit verbose. So basically the idea here is that every speaker just has this speaker name. Problem is I click edit here, it's gonna disappear. It's gone. So I kind of need it to always be there. Which is fine, I guess. I could probably put it in there. It needs to be in the turbo frame because it might change. I don't know how I want to solve it. Let's just... The bit that I was thinking here is I can kind of just do something like this, which is document.get element by ID, and we know it's going to be speaker underscore something. Which is like, actually it is just speaker, isn't it? I think plus underscore name, and then get the like inner or the text content of that element, and then we can do like name for that. I guess is kind of the thing I was thinking, which kind of works, but the problem here is if I change a name, it doesn't do anything. Where's speaker 4? 10 minutes in. Yeah, okay. But it kind of does work. It just doesn't work. Kind of works, but it just kind of doesn't work. And I mean, the other bit is if I edit it. Like if I set the stuff up to subscribe, now when it edit, it's gone. Then what would happen? It would go back to speaker 1. Not really. Whenever we change the speakers, are we re-rendering this? No, we re-render this whenever we change the transcription. So that's not quite good enough either. So, what do we want to do? Also, did I do something at some point? Where's this gone? Why is the spacing all screwed? No, that's fine. Is it the same on all? It's okay, so it's not there. And it's not there. And it's not there. And it's fine there. But this one, okay, fine now. I don't know. We do not know. Again, still really don't like this. The reason I keep coming back to the stimulus is because I can do something with the values where I can identify the value has changed. And when the value changes, I can do something. But I could also just set up an event listener in here and identify when stuff changes. So I don't really need the stimulus, I guess. Can I say there was like update attributes? We are in the React though. Can we get rid of React? Node views. With JavaScript. That's what I'm doing at the moment. Does this seem a little too complex? Consider using React or Vue. No. No. What's that mean? No GIF. Yeah. No. God no. God no. So I'm not using Vue. I've barely ever used Vue. I'm wondering whether Vue is an option here. Like, can I just... Vue is again a special file format. I'm going to need a JavaScript build thing. Don't want the JavaScript build thing. I want to do no build. Okay, let's go back. I don't think I'm going to go down the stimulus route because I just don't see it adding much value. I still need to pull stuff from somewhere. I do have access to stuff like get speakers, right? So I do have access to like the stuff in this controller here, which means I can just pass down anything. effectively to here. Could even do my own little pub sub type thing. Because really that is what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to think state as some HTML. Where do I get my speakers from? I get the list, the number of speakers is in the transcript. But I also need to... I'm done with that song. So I kind of need to decide where I'm storing the state. One option is this list is the state. Probably makes it easiest. When I'm in here, right, when I'm in this is the name field. And so it has an ID of speaker participant name, right? Not quite the right thing again, because actually something annoying is if I've got two of these, it's going to be speaker participant name. I have to deal with that at some point. But if I went in here and do $0.text content, yeah. Yeah, it's value, isn't it? So if I did $0.text content or $0.value, because then as I change this, I guess it would subscribe to that. That's one option. I think another option is to have some sort of blob of JSON, perhaps, with all of the participants. The core is really that I need to subscribe to. Let's see what ChatGPT makes of it. I'm writing an application using vanilla HTML, JS, not quite, but sure. It's using Hotwire, Turbo, and Stimulus. Side. What am I trying to say here? Okay, a select list where the options are the names of the people. Oh, so really, I'm thinking actually there's I feel like I'm really complicating this. There must be something with Turbo where I can, all I really want to do is I've got a bunch of options here. I want to, whenever I make a change over here, I want it to make the change to all of the things that have that class, right? Or something like that. Or the ID, right? If I go into these options, really what I'm saying is I've changed the name. Everyone that now has speaker_3 should now become this name. And I should just be able to do that with turbo. I can add a turbo stream. The problem is the target, right? The target is an ID at the moment. Actions with multiple. Oh. Can I just use any CSS query selector? Yes. Okay. That might make it easier. Interesting. So now when I'm coming back with the speaker, what if I just go in here and include a turbo stream action update target is anything that has a option don't know about this bit because of the I think I need a class on them because it's going to assume it's an ID. Oh, that says input.invalid field. Okay, so sure, let's give it a go. Option for the value. Is speaker underscore something. In here we're going to say that this is the speaker.id turbo stream, and then we're just going to pump in the speaker name, right? Like, hey, update everything where the option value is speaker to the new speaker name. So I go in here, Oliver, update. Did anything happen in here? We've got a form in there at the moment. I update. Having fun of watching email tennis between two departments, both wanting different options for a change. That's fun. That's definitely a large org type behavior. As long as they let my team know what function testing they just do, I don't care which option they pick. You just get to sit and wait it out, but like, can you just make your mind up, please? Hello? Hard out there? They all have hello. What? Okay. Can I debug? Oh, it needs a template in it at the very least. That's another thing. What will happen is the deadline is round the corner, and then we will need to get testing out of the way by the next day. Yeah, that sucks. Can I want to see these in some way. It's always the way that testing gets squeezed, never the fun part. Problem is our team is really good, so they kind of expect us to always have a quick turnaround now. Makes sense. Yeah. That's that problem. Is it Peter's principle? Peter principle. Kind of is that in the same way that like you get so good to a point where actually you can't really add value anymore because you basically just, I guess it's not quite the same. This is about like getting promotions to the point where you're in a job that you can no longer do. But I feel like there is probably a parallel there, which is when you perform really well, people expect more. And then that doesn't give you the space to do some of the stuff that's quite important to get you to that point. Like if you're always squeezed, then eventually you won't be quick anymore because you just won't have time to do all the things that are important to make you go fast. There's some sort of debug mode I can put here. Yep, understand logic. That's exactly that. Both in the work the team does in terms of personal career bits. Yeah, Peter principle is a real thing. It's the tricky kind of typical promotion leads to management, but then all of the good people are now doing management, not actually doing the things they were enjoying or were actually good at. Rename streams to turbo actions. That probably does make more sense, but turbo operations. Okay. I don't think there's a debug mode, but maybe I can get like an event of when the stream before stream render. I'm trying to avoid the custom actions. I really don't want to do the custom actions. Balance of doing the work well enough to not having shit come back on you, but making it so you end up having even more work added on top. Yeah, there's a balance there. I think that's why I don't try to avoid those situations. It's the large org thing, I think, most of the time. Not that there isn't shit to deal with in smaller smaller orgs and startups and stuff like that. But I don't know. There's a lot of weird politics at that weird stage that just means you end up having to worry about kind of not doing a good job or doing a good, like how much of a good job you do. If your application needs to support other behaviors, you can override the event detail render. I don't want to do any of that, but I just want to see. Window.add event listener. I've only worked in large orcs, so small fish and big sea, being one of the bigger fish in my territory. If that makes that makes sense. That makes sense. So if I edit this and update this, there's my turbo stream. There's my target, which is gone now. It's been destroyed. I guess it decided it didn't find anything. Reference events. Customize the element's behavior by overriding the event.detail.render function. Where'd you get fallback to default actions from? Oh, I see. It's overriding them. Let's see what it's doing. Is there an output here? I think if we I don't need all of that. Get rid of that. It returns a promise. Interesting. Dot then out console.log out. This okay, undefined. There's nothing there. Hatch. Didn't catch anything, didn't even console log, so the stream element is like the element, the actual, yeah. I mean, that doesn't look right, but I suppose got get attribute. I got the attribute where it's called target. Yeah, target. And I can't look inside it. Oh, I can look inside it. Chris O speak _0. Document.get elements. Select? No, yeah, it's query select. Cool. Dot. I think part of the problem here is actually it's not dot like what does this do? So when it does the update, let's just look in the code actually. Where is it? Turbo. Source. Core, I'm imagining. Streams, probably. Stream message renderer. Or stream actions. Update. So what it's doing is it's taking all of the target elements, and then for each of them it's setting the inner HTML and then to blank, and then appending the content. So if I was to do that here, oh, just nice music. Music makes me lose control. I don't know, whatever. Huh. Yeah. So what it's doing here is I take all of those and for each of them it is something weird there where like Chris Swan in the process of doing that update, they all actually update what? I mean, it's technically not what it does. It sets them to blank, right? And then the other thing it does is append hello. Okay. Target elements comes from where? How does this get used? I guess there's a stream element that then imports the stream actions. Yes, yes, yes. How does the stream actions get used? Forms an action. How does form action? If this action grab the action and returns it, that doesn't actually perform it though. Because stream actions. Oh, but how did it get this .target element? Okay, the stream element, stream actions, all stream actions. Yeah, fine. There's target element. I guess it kind of inherits it, I guess, to some degree. Yeah, so this then becomes reference to this. If target... Oh, hang on. Was there a tiny little detail in something I missed? There was. Where is it? Targets. Multiple. Where is my code? Here. Okay. Did update that? That's Fred. Teddy. Actually, yeah. That's actually probably the easiest way of doing it. We're just saying, hey, actually, we just need to update everything on page that has that. That's pretty clean. So changes are dealt with. The only bit that I need to make sure that is clean and working smoothly is the initial render. Always one character. It's usually a decimal point in my cases. Yeah, it's always a decimal character. Decimal. There's always usually one character rather. It's literally the difference between singular or plural. It's usually pluralization. It's always one character. Pluralization, semicolons, decimal points. A closing bracket or an opening bracket, like some sort of bracket or brace or parenthesis. One symbol, one character. I'm actually quite happy with how that works, because I felt like I was going into this like rabbit hole of having to do React and stuff, and I'm like, actually, it's just really simple. When you change it, render a turbo stream with the update. And that will just make sure that whenever this renders, it will update the name across all of the places. I don't need this anymore, that can go. I did that in pricing for some of Tanya's jewellery costs. Literally, I put a decimal point in the wrong place and it really screwed up with some of the costing. Thankfully, she caught it. Yeah, that can be dangerous. I've done that before as well, like on accounting stuff, and accidentally put wrong decimal point in, and sometimes be quite easy like to miss, quite difficult to spot. Especially since the number at the end is usually just one decimal point out, so it's easy to miss. The difference between 30% and 300%. Yeah, that's definitely it. I suppose if it's like 3%, or even 30% is it? Okay, cool. I'm not happy with where that's going. So here's a problem. They're all speaker 0 now. But then when I refresh this and update, oh no, I'm I was still using that. rendering. I think here's the next problem, right? Whenever I like, it renders 238 utterances. I go in here, I update, it re-renders all 238 utterances. So even though this does, in theory, do what it says it's supposed to do, can't actually tell. Like, let's perhaps just put a... I'll just go in here perhaps and just go, okay, well, we're going to have, not there, that's not going to render there. Yeah, we'll just do a select. Option. Speaker 0. So this here, this is just a random select field. Also note that already it has a name in it. Update, press 1. So Turbo is updating this, and it is updating these, but whenever it updates those, TipTap decides I'm gonna have to re-render it all. I'm gonna have to re-render everything, and then that causes TipTap to freak out. Do the options need content editable set to false? Option. No, it's still re-rendering everything. I guess it's okay that it re-renders everything. The reason it's broke, and I know why it's broke, is because I took out the bit in here that had the ID, that speaker name. And so it was kind of deceiving, because basically what's happening is we load the page, the names for here get pulled from the names in this sidebar by looking up the IDs. It's like, oh, speaker _1 name, grab the text value, that's another value. When I go in here and change something, these all decide, oh, I've changed the right thing, but now I've got to re-render the entire utterance. It works, I suppose. It's just a bit weird. Get rid of this now. Okay, no. I suppose if you're able to go in here quick enough and then edit before it loads. Actually, you can't. Turbo's not letting me. If I refresh, this loads before I can ever get Turbo to open up that. Fair enough. I have to close the window quickly. Be right back. I said close the window, but what I really meant was close the curtains. TipTap does weird things. Hmm. Choosing turbo to submit the form, which is fine, but I kinda the problem with using turbo to submit the form is it locks the page up. Like there's some weird jankiness now to the editing. Like if you try and do stuff while it's in the middle of a save, it freaks out and then replays them. I haven't really noticed that. I've not been playing around with the editor since doing that. That's unrelated to the name stuff I'm doing. But it's a bit jank. I think let's quickly review the name stuff. What did we do? Okay, that became quotes. I'm not really gonna make that change because I don't see the point changing a file that's unrelated. That was a debugging thing. That didn't do anything. Option. I feel like that probably makes more sense, and that would we create the option but get the name into the text content, otherwise we make them a blank speaker. In theory this second bit never happens because it's always pulling it from there, but we pull back and then the speaker itself has a turbo stream to update and also the name of that person. Okay. We'll commit that. Sync show names. So participant names in editor. Okay. Now I want to fix some of the jankiness that happens when you're mid saving, because we know that save isn't going to modify here, and so when we navigate with turbo drive, what does it do? Pausing requests, performing visits. Pausing rendering. Applications can pause rendering. We don't need to pause rendering. Action or frame cache progress session drive. I think unless there's something in here, then I'm gonna have to look at how I can submit that form as just a background request rather than turbo. Turbo temporary, turbo eval. Is there anything in GitHub maybe? Not for that. Turbo. Submit form in background without locking page. Like hotwired. Not that one. Turbo. Community. We'll go in here and we'll see new node turbo package. What? Okay. Now what I want to know is, can I submit form in background without locking? Not sure locking is the right word. Without. I'm gonna have to find the new way, I think. At the moment, this is all in the transcription editor controller. This request submit. It's doing a lot. Wire. Wanted to go back to that thing quickly and see if there was a thing on the community page. Let's see. I want to submit form in background. Like autosave perhaps is, I guess. Stimulus, turbo, autosave. Is that something that someone's come up with before? Surely someone's come up against this issue. What's this? Okay. Stimulus Rails autosave, but what did they do? They just request submit. Pre-roll ads are on. Should have started earlier this time. Do they have an example? Actually, did the code here have any example? Control autosave. They don't seem to have the issue here where the I think it's turbo locking the page, because that would explain why when if I do something like everything happens, all of the interactions happen, in that order. Same when I refreshed and then did the edit, kind of the sequence to them. I'm wondering actually if I... What does drive form submission? What does this do? This stop fetch request stop perform. Find on line 37. Fetch request comes from HTTP fetch request. Fetch request. We will in here request started, makes the fetch, and it receives. So if we go back quickly, form submission. Where's this used? Submit form. Form submitted. Submit bubble. So there's the form submit observer that's listening for when the form gets submitted. That then calls this form submitted on delegate, which I believe is the session. That then calls the submit form on the navigator, which then calls the form submission, or creates a form submission and starts it. And then start is here. That creates a form submission state. Mark as busy. I wonder if there's something with the observers, right? Like at the very beginning of this was this observer, and I think the problem is again the rendering, right? If I go back there and save, it re-renders everything. Hello? So if I go in here and create a new line, it renders the one, and then it renders everything. Multiple times as well, right? Like if I refresh this page, when are we console logging rendering? Oh, we're not anymore. We were before. If we go to the utterance node and then just do the console.log rendering. Where it is. So 238. And then if I render 1,912 times, it renders. Why? Rendered everything 8 times and a bit. Something weird. So I can change this. I don't need to. But this is the problem, I think, because it re-renders everything. Re-renders everything every time the whole anywhere in the page changes. So I need to really stop it from doing the re-renders, and that means going even in more advanced into how we render this stuff. And since there's an ad break, I'm going to be right back. Be right back. And just in time, I think, as well. Let's see. Appearance. Zoom. Reset zoom. Again. Right. So, the problem I believe that I've narrowed it down to, and the reason it feels a little janky, is because it's re-rendering all of these utterance nodes every time. That's annoying. So, I need to update my extension to not do that. And so there's this render HTML, no, add node view. And that returns a DOM. Update node attributes. No, that's fine. Adding a content editable again. Not quite. I've seen it somewhere in these docs. With JavaScript, with React, with Vue, a few examples. I want to see an example. That's using the Vue renderer. Was there one where it's just... I think some of their extensions that they make are... I mean, I couldn't tell you which one though. So is it trying to not get it to re-render after each update now? Yeah, so what happens, like, so the editor here that I've got is TipTap. which is this library that I'm using. And then as part of that library, I've written a couple of extensions, or actually I'm extending one of their extensions at the moment. So the reason for doing that is because I kind of have these additional attributes on them. So I have utterance, which is basically a paragraph, but it assigns that paragraph to a speaker. And then I also have word as well, which is a mark, which allows me to set like when that word started being spoken and when it finished getting spoken. And also the confidence of the transcription and some stuff like that. So all of that detail is stored in the editor. So when you inspect it, you can kind of see in here, there's confidence, type, start, end, information being attached to each word, and also the paragraph also has a bunch of stuff that's rendered alongside it. It's not just a paragraph, it has the name and stuff. And so I've got these custom extensions. There's a bunch of config here, so it has a type, has what content can be put inside of it, has how it passes it into HTML, and then this adds the attributes that can be used with it. So, and the default is speaker 0. This last bit here is this add node view, and at the moment I just return a function, and the function then tells it how to render. Which is fine for something basic like the word, because the word just gets rendered and actually it can just run the same thing every time. But this add node view has to get, since there's kind of two ways of creating an extension. There's this way, which is every time something changes, it will call this function and regenerate the entire piece of interface. There is another way, and I can't find it. I've seen it before, where you render it once and then just apply updates to it. And that's what I'm trying to find. Maybe they have an example somewhere. No, not that one. What is it that I'm... Node view. I think it depends on what you return. So at the moment I'm returning a function that gets called to return the thing. But actually the node and the React view, the view and the React renderers do something different. And if I remember, actually that's the interesting bit that I probably would worth looking into. Add node view returns a node view renderer, and the node view renderer takes in some props and returns a node view. That was exactly what I was going to ask, if there's a way of storing the details and having a render when ready, but always hunt for the elusive code. Yeah, there is a way. There is a way. I remember it. That's basically what the React view renderer is doing. I can find that again. Where was that? Or the view one. I'll probably look at the next one. Like here. The React view renderer. What does that actually do? Component options and returns props. So it depends, I think, what you return from this. So we return DOM and content DOM. But the node view, this is it, the node view handle selection update. So I think I can pass an update thing in here. What am I doing? I'm also trying to use VinMotions, which... Why does DD not work here? Oh, because I have caps lock on. That's also why it was going above every time. Capital D versus D. Whoa, okay. Give me some code. What's this? Updated node. Updated node type, name, utterance. If it's not an utterance anymore, turn false. We can't update it. That makes sense. So we pass an update function that can then take in whatever has changed, see if there's any changes, and only update the things if they have changed. So in this case, if the speaker label, if the selected speaker changed, I don't know where you're getting that from, but oh, that's the currently selected speaker. If that's no longer the new speaker, then we have to update the value of the speaker label. That's wrong. Shouldn't update the value. Let's just return false in the cases where we know we need to re-render. At the very least. The start time. Alright, let's see if what this does. Probably break everything. Makes sense. We rendered 238. We press enter. We rendered once. Again, we're rendering. We don't need to render. We're returning an update. Checking can update. Like, can we update? Is there something else I was supposed to add in here? I think I can find the docs now, actually. I think this is the node view. Node view. It's not. I want the API. Okay, I thought there were some docs for it at some point, but maybe there isn't. I need to simplify what's going on in my tabs there. Close all this rubbish. I think that'll do. So this is implementing a node view. Now I grab Is that here? Node view. Hoping there might be some docs in here, but it doesn't look like there is. Node view is supposed to maybe I actually have to return a node view rather than just an object that kind of looks like a node view. My next project I work on is not going to have a rich text editor because they're not fun to work with. I wonder about node view like dot update is kind of what I'm thinking about. Like I kind of want to see what happens to the node view. So like at some point we render the node view, right? Like add node view gets called. Not like that, but at some point we do that there, extension manager, and we get a node view back. We then return that extension with its node views. I'm not sure extension manager is the right place to be. Okay. Maybe extension manager was the place because it's the only place where add node view seems to come up in the code. Like where it actually gets called. I remember reading something, I just don't know where it was. Maybe it was in here. Task item. Extension, task, item. What do they do in here? Add node view. They've taken a bunch of stuff, and at the end of this, we have this. What am I doing? V, Shift V actually. D. We return DOM, content DOM, and update. And then if the updated node is not equal to this dot type, I guess this dot type is, yeah, there, right? How are they? Export default. Node.create. I guess paragraph.extend is kind of the same. Add options. Add keyboard shortcuts. It really should just be a case of like the update function exists and therefore it can So we return a function which the end result of which renders the component on the page. Well, it doesn't even render on the page, it creates all of the elements and then returns that in a DOM and content DOM, and then gives an update method function in order to create that. I wonder if this is being remounted. Mounted. Because if this is being remounted, then the whole editor is being reloaded, not just the... So I should see mounted once. Yeah. Why are we rendering everything like 1,000 times? I suppose 8 times, but... Tip tap node view update. Is there anything online about? I don't want to do the attributes. Is there anything else happening in here that... Node editor and get pos. Node get pos editor. That's all fine. Defining. What does defining mean? Content options. Do I have something like that for... I don't think the word mark does. There is no node view for the word mark. It's just the word, so I don't have to worry about it for the marks. It is just here. I'm pretty sure I did this before and I just returned the update. Even if I just saw the console log from the update, it's not even calling it. So where does it call update in the code, right? VIW. Oh. VIW. C. Is that what? Yeah. I want to see everywhere it says update. I don't really want to see everywhere it says update, but hey. Table view. So this is one thing that's interesting, right? Because table view here does return node view. It's distinctively different to what's going on here with this one. This node view, add node view, just returns an arrow function, whereas this one is the table view. And it's used add options view table. They don't even use the add node view here. But then there's also this thing that says to do fix. What is that all about? Why? Okay. Fine.
sick with excitement. You can seem so violent. Fire in your eyes. I feel like you ain't right here. Nothing that you like here.
At some point we should see something that looks like dot update. In theory. But let's just do dot update. What about if we take the library? Let's just duplicate this tab. Let's go back to the root. Just dot go into code on GitHub. We'll look through their code and we'll just search for dot update across the entire code base. Update current user update props. That's the React renderer. I don't think that's really what I want. It's not going to be anything in a extensions folder. It's going to be like packages core, right? Name, options, storage, editor, type, parent. Now I don't actually take anything in from here, but I could take those things in, but I'm not. Because then it renders a node view renderer. Go to definition. Go to, there's no implementation. Go to source definition. Node view renderer. Node view renderer. Okay, so where was that defined? Types. Types. Node view renderer. Which takes the node view renderer props, which are these things, and returns a node view or an object. Okay. Can I see everywhere in the code base where node view render is used? And I probably need to set some sort of like packages slash core slash star star star. Node view renderer. That's that bit. We've seen that. I think it is the extension manager. get node views. Because then it's used here in the editor to create all the node views. Node views. So then where is the creating all of the node views? I mean, this is a bit weird because it's like create node views. What's that even? What node view? This dot view set props node views. And then this
too much, so long, but don't start to rush. Take your time, clear your mind, you're worried.
create a view.
Don't make it too tough. We made it. We made it, yeah.
I just want to see where it calls update. Like, extension.name node view. But that doesn't.
My emotions like it's all just a game to you. It's a game to you. Roll the dice again and I can promise this time.
Add node view returns a. This is actually like rendered, right? Because it's got content DOM in there.
But don't start to rush. Take your time, clear your mind, you're worried enough. Don't make it too tough.
Let's add the debugger. Okay, so we were in the extension manager. Now where are we? We're in Prose Mirror now, right? This is the problem, because underneath this library is this library, which looks like a completely unrelated library, but this is the library that TipTap is built on top of. And somewhere in here will be the documentation about the node view update. Okay, okay. Prose Mirror view. Yes, DOM. I don't think it has the concept of content DOM, right? Is it update? Plugin view. There we go, interface node view. By default, document. Mate, keeping track of all this, my mind is already lost. Yeah, it's deep. It's not really a good. It's not good stream content. I'm not gonna lie. It's a bit dry. I find this anytime, like I've never found a good rich text editor to do work with. So I'm using TipTap for this. I think for previous project I used Slate.js. They're all just a nightmare to work with. Like, it is so complex building any sort of rich text editor, and it really does fry my brain a little bit. It's a little bit like the Inception movie, where you're just going layer after layer down into goodness knows what. But yeah, thank you for sticking with it. Sticking with me, keeping me company through this. Yeah, this node view is the bit. This is what we're creating. The object we return from our function. We have our DOM, our content DOM, and now we've given an update function. It's been chill having on the background while I've been for the day. When given, this will be called when the view is updating itself. It will be given a node, possibly of a different type, an array of active decorations around the node, which are automatically drawn, and the node may view it. Node view may ignore it if it's not interested in them, and a decoration source that represents any decorations that apply to the content of the node, which again may be ignored. It should return true if it was able to update that node, or false otherwise. If the node view has a content DOM property or node DOM property, we do have a content DOM property. Updating its child nodes will be handled by Prose Mirror. We have a content DOM property, which is fine. It should be dealing with those separately. We should still be able to decide whether we render or not this top part. I would have thought. The DOM node should hold a node's content only meaningful if the node view also defines a DOM property and its node type is not of a leaf type. When this is present, Prose Mirror will take care of rendering the node children into it. Basically, I give you the content DOM and it renders stuff into that. Last email that came through was details of a risk event that happened towards the end of last year. Some questions coming up about testing. Just thought this is a tomorrow job now. That definitely sounds like a tomorrow job. I think this thing that I'm dealing with right now is probably a tomorrow job at this point. I'm going to have to call it actually in 15 minutes or so. Looking at the time, I didn't realise what time it was. So this probably is a tomorrow job, unfortunately. Called when the node view is destroyed or removed from the editor and the whole editor is destroyed. Okay. To be honest, coming in fresh eyes always helps most of the time. It does. And I do feel like I've probably built up enough context to put it on the back burner, have it simmer for a bit. Now that I remember where all the docs are for different things. Until you start seeing the code in your dreams. I will be dreaming about Prose Mirror and TipTap and leaf nodes and child nodes and okay. Where do we get to on this debugging? This is in Prose Mirror at this point. Cryptic, how are you? Who comes up with these names? The leaf node does make sense because effectively what it's saying is that the it's thinking about the structure of the document as a tree, and the leaf is the end of a branch essentially, so it's the last thing in that tree. So I guess they're just kind of building upon names that already exist, but there are also some names that are just like, what? How have you been, Cryptic? Happy New Year, by the way. Doing good, and yes, it has. Has been a while. I kind of wonder if I don't pass along the content on. It's going to look weird. But so because I don't pass along the content DOM, the update function gets called. If the node view has a content DOM property or no DOM property, updating its child nodes will be handled by prose mirror. What about this node? I want to update this node, not the child nodes, this node. I mean, to be fair, that's not entirely true, I suppose, because not that one. I did something different that time. I didn't. Okay, so that does. So changing this does call the update. The problem is if the child nodes update in still. The child node's update in any way, then it doesn't even call this update function, but it still re-renders the entire. Is there something weird I'm doing with my marks, maybe? Because these shouldn't really be re-rendering. They aren't changing. I think it's a tomorrow problem. I think it's a problem for tomorrow. I'm actually really happy with having this, like, the names in there. That came across pretty well. Hey, thank you for the follow. Polyfic. That's pronounced properly, but thanks for the follow. So did we find out the full path the debugger is going through? Yeah, I remembered that it reminded me that TipTap built on top of Prose Mirror. So actually the code that I was looking for, where this update function and the documentation for it, this is the specific problem we've got here. It's code in this library, which I guess I can find. Prose Mirror View, I think it was. I turned the debugger off in the end. Where is it? Prose Mirror. I can search in here, maybe update. It would be good actually to see where in the code it is. Let's just do that quickly. Let's go. So when we change the speaker, can I debug it from there perhaps? When I change the speaker, also, sorry, I realised you want to get away and ask my question. No, it's good because I need to feed my brain with the context of the problem, and then I'll go away, and then I'll have it. I won't be thinking about it, but it will be there. There'll be a bunch of information for it to stew on. Now, where are we? This looks like prose mirror code, but this is a long. Prose mirror view index. Obviously, this is the dist. Next. Can I just search this in the code quickly? The prose mirror. Again, too many tabs. Too many tabs. Prose mirror view, yes. Create. Parent. So here we're doing the create of the. Okay, there's one for the node and one for the view. Update. Let's continue on this step through. Basically, what I want to find happen is at some point it will reach my set node marker. I want to see it go and find the update function where we eventually get the console log. What I really want to see. There's a lot of code here. I should learn to use a debugger properly at some point. Probably one of the things I'm not as skilled at. That I probably could do with improving. Like, should I step up? I don't really know. Did this here? Did that? Can I actually look at the cool stuff here? I don't know. If I resume, oh, hang on, where is it? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on. Anyway, I don't think I need the exact line. That might be useful. Where was the prose mirror dot again? Node view. I think what probably happens is if any of the child views change, then it just re-renders the parent view. And perhaps what's happening is the marks are re-rendering every time. For some reason. I don't have a thingy, so there is this like apply marking thing that perhaps causes it to. But where's this being applied? Handle text input. So that should only be applying to changes. This only applies to changes, so it shouldn't really affect the rendering. Perhaps I could add a node view update thing in here at some point. Maybe that will. But also that's a bit weird because this is a mark, not a node. What does it say about marks? Not that one. Yeah. Does it say anything about mark? Mark views only support. Okay, so marks have a node view as well, but don't support any of the node view methods. Objects returned as node views must conform to this interface. Okay. It's doing a bit of reading. Anytime something gets a new parent, it re-renders. They shouldn't be changing parents. Go into a new line here, and actually it's the autosave that's triggering it, I'm pretty sure. Like if I take the autosave off, let's just turn off this. Let's maybe simplify it. Everything renders. And obviously I've hit the debugger there, that's fine. But now it's not. It only re-renders everything when the save happened. What's happening on the save? Well, when I save, it re-renders this. Oh, we're back. We're back to that. We're back to the start. I know what it is. When we save, what ends up happening is like we get a network request. So we kind of come full circle. When I save here, we get this request here, which has host request, and it should have a response. The response is a turbo stream, which updates this section of the page, and inside this turbo stream are more turbo streams, which then update the values of all of these nodes. It changes the name, right? And so because of that, this has been modified in some way, causing it to be re-rendered. So if I went in here and just said, actually, you know what, I don't want to see the console here separate. Let's just do a comment. Third. If I went in here and decided I'm going to change this from Chris to Ted Teed, and then look in here, it said checking can update. Yeah, so that save updates the participant list, which then renders all of these participant speakers, and based on the work we did today, that now updates these, which doesn't cause it to save again. We're not creating a loop, but what it does happen is it causes all of them to re-render. Which, oh, now it's bugged out. And while it's re-rendering, it gets a bit weird. Fine. The problem is when I modify stuff, because otherwise it's fine. I need to figure out how I better do the out-of-band updates, I suppose. I kind of need to tell yeah, I kind of need to tell Tap that the names need to change. Is there a way of storing the data in a cache before getting the save? It's not so much the save isn't really the problem. The problem is when I save, it tries to update all of the names, but the names are the problem anyway, because the names are a problem. I don't like that it re-renders everything here like that. When I do this update here, when I submit that, it's already changed all of the fields. It doesn't need to re-render the entire component, because when it re-renders the entire component, it's rendering like the time and everything else. But actually, this should already be, without that, the updating it. It updates before it even renders. Re-renders. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot to go on there, so I guess we'll tackle that tomorrow. We'll have to wrap up now. But yeah, thank you for hanging out. Working through that with me. Good questions. Good feedback as well. I will be on tomorrow. I think it's gonna be probably a similar time as today. It'll be later in the afternoon, I think. When I do, probably a similar time, similar strength, similar time, similar length stream as today. But yeah, we'll continue working on this. I think I've got some other projects coming up as well that shall probably do some streaming on at some point. So anything to get away from rich text editing, because painful. Anything like, if your rich text editor is simple and does what it wants out the box, easy. As soon as you want to do something custom, pain in the arse. But hey, it's fun. I'll See you tomorrow if you're around. Thanks for hanging out.